Hey guys, how you doing? My name is Nico. I'm from the Low Grade Comic Collectors, and today I'm partnering up with Radd to bring you guys a review on the XM Studios quarter scale Ghost Rider statue. So, a little bit you guys need to know about the character and the statue itself. So first of all, like I said, this statue is quarter scale, and this was one of the nicest statues that I have ever purchased. The details, everything about it is one of my absolute favorites. So that being said, I'm going to be really heavily critiquing this statue since it's probably tied for my favorite character. So the character, Ghost Rider, was actually made back in 1972. And the character was created by Gary Frederick. He was written by him. He was initially drawn by Mike Plug. And here's the first appearance right here in Marvel Spotlight number 5. So this is my copy signed by all 4 creators. So like I said, the creators were Gary Frederick, Mike Plug, and then it was also supervised by Roy Thomas as well as Stan Lee. So if you guys don't have this issue, I would really recommend getting it. Something that a lot of people might not realize about this statue, even though this statue is advertised as the character Johnny Blaze, what's interesting about this statue is Johnny Blaze's motorcycle, but ridden by Danny Ketch. So Danny Ketch came in the 90s in Ghost Rider number 1, right here. And this was initially first ridden by Howard Mackie, and drawn by Javier Saltares, and later on taken by Mark Texeria, and he did all the artwork after that. This one's a much cheaper issue that you can get, and sometimes you can even find in the dollar bin, but still it's a great issue to have. So as you can see from all the spikes in the chain and how the character aesthetically looks, this statue is actually Danny Ketch. So, like I said, Danny Ketch riding on Johnny Blaze's motorcycle. So this statue was actually an XM exclusive, meaning that it could only be obtained through XM during a convention that they were appearing in over in Asia, Singapore, so on and so forth. The statue is limited to 999 pieces. And again, let me tell you, this statue is beautiful. 100% digitally sculpted. And even though there's no cloth and that there's no fabric, the statue itself is mixed media because different parts of the motorcycle are actually metal. So the amount of detail that was actually put into this statue is pretty amazing. From the anatomically correct parts of the motorcycle, it would make sense how an actual motorcycle would be, to where even if you're looking inside of the neck, you can see the vertebrae of the spinal cord inside the neck itself. The statue has a lot of pieces to it. So as you can see, different parts of the flames come out. So it's a lot of different pieces, very well done, in my opinion. So I'm going to get a little bit to the pros and the cons of this statue. So one of the cons would probably be it's very, very fragile. As you can see, there's a lot of points, a lot of edges, a lot of things that could snag, tear, crack, break, so on and so forth. But I think that's justified in the sense of, since it's a lot of fire and there's a lot of spikes, it would have to happen anyway in order to create the statue for what it is. So even though there's a lot of very weak points in the sense of the statue being fragile, it needs to be that way in order to present itself how it's being presented. So that's one of the things. Another thing is, in regards to size, it is a big statue. So it's going to take up a lot of real estate. It's tall because of the point of the chain. It's also long because of, well, the size of the motorcycle going all the way back to the flames itself. But again, I think that's justified to get the whole idea of what they were trying to do and what they were trying to portray. So I think it's justified. Another thing that I would probably have to say that the only thing about this statue, my big complaint about it, is the eyes. So the eyes itself are fine, but it's more about the penance stare that they did inside the eye, which kind of looks like a sticker. That bugs me a little bit, because if you go very close, I feel as though it does affect the statue itself. But I mean, if that's the worst point of the statue, I mean, it's not that bad. So as you can see what I'm referring to, it's almost like a sticker, but I mean, well, there you go, you can see the vertebrae, and the head itself I thought was very well made. But yes, the eyes, I think that could have either been better executed or just forgot about altogether. Now I know they took a vote on it when the statue was being created, and people voted to have it. I would have voted to not. But then again, if it bugs you that much, you could always get black marker and, you know, black it out. But, I mean, that's not that bad. One issue that a lot of people had with this statue in the beginning was this chain piece right here, for a lot of people came warped, and the reason was because the type of material they had to use and due to different temperature changes when being shipped, it warps. But thankfully, to a few people online, I managed to use a hair dryer on it, which I also would suggest doing if that's something that happened to you, where it showed up a little bit warped. And if you take your time and if you go slow, you should be able to get it in perfectly. Now, the paint on this statue is very well made, very well done. At first I was very skeptical because they were saying how the whole flames would actually be painted rather than clear resin. And I'll be honest, I think since it was executed so well, it doesn't bother me. If anything, I probably like it even more than the clear resin. Again, this is my own personal opinion, but I think they did a great job. I like how they made all the rocks coming up from the ground being trapped with, you know, inside the fire and stuff like that. I mean, that's just so well made. A very nice touch. And the base itself, you can see the cinders and the ashes that's coming from the different skulls that are on the ground and the floor itself. The motorcycle, like I said, is very, very well made. It's very heavy. So if you're going to put this together, take your time. There's no rush. I've seen people rush putting this together and they crack it. Here it actually has a little bit of a hook, and all you do is you slide it into the hook and then you ease it down to into the correct posture. Beautifully done. Another thing that people were having a complaint about was they said that the tip of the chain, when initially showed in the concept, was actually pointed more horizontal to where they actually increased it a little bit. I think aesthetically speaking, this looks better, but I have seen some people bend right here, the little tip where you connect the chain into the horns, this demon ram horn thing, and actually bent it a little bit, which is not hard to do. Now, I wouldn't recommend doing it, but I think it's fine and it looks great. A friend of mine, he did have it pointed forward, and it did look good as well. This will not fit in a lot of displays just due to the measurements on it. So a lot of people actually put this on top of the Vestas and stuff like that. This is a great centerpiece. This is always a wow factor that I get from a lot of people, and it's a very nice statue. Now, another cool thing about this statue is, even though the spikes on the foot, the leg, top of the boots, however you want to call it, are resin, the ones on the inside are a very hard plastic, but it does have some give to it. And the great thing about that is when you're sliding the statue in, you don't have to worry so much about scratching due to the plasticity of the spikes. So that was a great touch by XM, very smart and very well executed. There's a little piece right here of the motorcycle that a lot of people forget. You can't see it because it's actually behind the foot. So it's not necessarily important, but it does come in the box. And that's where it slides in between the heads of the engine, and all you do is two pieces, you slide it in. Now that one is not actually it's not actually said in the instruction manual, but all you do is you slide it in. It's very easy, doesn't take that long. Now this statue did take me a while to put together, but I'll tell you, it's, like I said, it is a very nicely put together statue. The zippers are very well done. The colors, XM really took their time on this, and I very much appreciate it. This to me is a great example of how far you can take a statue and how you can push engineering to a whole new level. Another great touch that XM did with this is, in the back of the motorcycle, about right here, every XM Ghost Rider has a license plate, and the license plate is the same number, the license plate number is the same one as the number of the statue you have. Meaning, if you have statue 212, the back of Ghost Rider will say XM 212, you know, and I think that is so cool. I also really do like the fact with XM that you can register each one of your statues, you can put it in record, so it's better to fight against people trying to recast the statues, so then you could always transfer the statue name to the new owner if that's the way you would like to go. Those would be some of the things that I would have to say about this statue. Like I said, some of the negatives would be the fact that it's a little fragile, it's a little big. The shipping was very expensive to get this guy here from Singapore. The box was very heavy, it's very big, but all those are justified. The only complaint that I really do have about this statue is how they executed the pendant stare or the fire inside the eyes. I think that could have been done a little better, but I don't believe that any statue is perfect. And if that's the only problem about the statue, I don't see that as way too much of a big deal. I think it was done very, very well. The statue itself, it's big, it's bulky, it's very well done. I love the aspects of how they use the mixed media in the sense of metal. The base is, it's heavy, it's nice, it's a nice weight to it. And I really do believe that anybody that will buy this statue will be satisfied with it, will be satisfied with the quality, with the detail, and the overall sculpt. And to me, a Ghost Rider fan, the second I saw the 3D rendering, so the concept of what this statue was going to look like, this was a no-brainer and I had to have it. Thankfully, I was able to acquire a pre-order after a long time of searching. And even though it was a little expensive, now this guy right now in the aftermarket is selling about 2,000 American dollars. So this guy is not going to come cheap. But like I said, if you are a Ghost Rider fan, at least in my opinion, this is the best Ghost Rider statue in the market. And this goes from any company or any commissioner. This has been the best one that I have seen. It's been my favorite one, and I have not regretted purchasing this statue at all. As you can see, it's actually one of the centerpieces in my display. I'm very happy with this, and I really hope, and I'm sure they will, that XM continues to do great pieces like this. This is what, as a community, we love to look at. We love to see pieces that don't genuinely go on sale, generally go on sale much. But this is a great statue, and a lot of people even classify this as a grail, and I would agree. In the sense of Ghost Rider, and everything about it was great. Even though I did mention that it's Danny Ketch on Johnny Blaze's bike, I think it captured both of the aspects of those two characters, because those are the two known Ghost Riders. There has been different people that have been possessed by the Ghost Rider or the Spirit of Vengeance, but these two are the most well-known, and these have the highest fan base. So, the cool aspect of how the motorcycle of Johnny Blaze looked, and the cool aspect of how Danny Ketch aesthetically looked, put together to make an amazing statue. Amazing company, and I'll be honest, like I said it once, I'll say it again. If you are a fan, you will love this statue. You will love the detail. I would recommend it, and if you ever have anything about it that you're not 100% sure of, or what you think it would look like in your collection, maybe you can find somebody that has it, though like I said, there's only 999 of these, so you're not going to see these around very often outside of social media. But anybody that does get to see these in person is always blown away. Even people that are not necessarily are into our community or comic book statues in general, have always been really blown away by this. So guys, to me this statue, is a 10 out of 10 despite the few things I said. I don't think it's enough to mark it down, in my own opinion. I like everything about this statue. I'm very happy with it, and I'm happy with how it was executed. I want to thank Radd for giving me a chance to review this statue, which I am so happy to be a part of, and I'm very happy to be a part of the Radd community. The Radd community has also helped the comic book community, like I said, the low-grade comic collectors. And we have teamed up and we have had a bunch of cool discussions, so thank you again from not just me, but my own little low-grade community as well. I hope to be able to keep doing reviews and keep interacting with you guys. And thank you XM Studios for making such a beautiful piece. And oh, by the way, this statue was also considered to be the Statue of the Year for quarter scale by the Statue Forum. So good enough to be classified as the Statue of the Year in a quarter scale. So if you want to see more reviews, the Statue Forums has a great review on that as well. And I would recommend reading it if you'd like, for more pictures and maybe even more of an in-depth in regards to mechanics of how this statue was put together. Thank you so much, guys. I really hope you enjoyed my review. I enjoyed doing it. And as always, happy hunting.